So I went to the Pokémon TCG Regional Championships in Toronto and played the Trolley Zard deck that I showcased on the channel. This was my first regionals, and here's how it went. The venue opened on Friday, and we were able to go check out the vendors and stuff, and play in the side events. First thing I bought the literal second I saw it was this Cleffa plushie. Then at the same vendor I found a Pidgeot EX Special Illustration Rare card, which I've been looking for a while. Then at another vendor I saw a Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare, and I was like, I think I need this. Not want, need. So I sold some stuff of mine, like a holo stamped Earthen Vessel, stamped Mew EX, and stamped Charizard EX, and a Night Stretcher to help pay for it. The price of the Charizard was around 100 Canadian dollars, but I think it was worth it. Around the event, I was hearing stuff about what people were going to be playing during the tournament, and many people were saying that Dragapult Iron Thorns was going to be extremely popular. They were either going to be playing it or teching for it, and that's a bad matchup for Charizard. So you know what time it is? It's emergency tech time. I had a couple of options. Cancelling Cologne was the first idea, but it seemed a bit odd. I would need to Arven for it, which would waste an Arven when trying to set up Pidgeot and Zard, because I'd need to use the Arven to search for Rare Candy. So I decided to instead cut my third Zard for Flutter Mane. I considered using a Klefki, but the thing is, Klefki would shut off my Rotom and my Lumineon, which would make it harder for me to set up, so I decided to just use a Flutter Mane. That way I could shut off Thorns and set up my Pidgeot and Zard, as well as use Rotom V's Instant Charge to draw cards and set up. I woke up at 7 AM and got some breakfast, grabbed my baby Cleffa, and headed out the door, ready to win some games. The tournament starts, and my first round was against a rogue deck, Tyranitar Dodrio. It revolves around Tyranitar EX using its Lightning Rampage attack for 250 damage because there's a Dodrio on the bench that uses Zooming Draw, putting 1 damage counter on itself. Game 1 I prized 4 of my Fire Energy, so I just conceded. And funny thing is, this happened in a practice game the night before. Game 2 I prized my Precious Trolley, but I still won by using Briar. And Game 3 I prized my Rotom, so I had to use Cleffa to draw cards, and I won by Dusclops plus Briar. For round 2, I played against Zardmira, against one of my friends who I was practicing with the night before. Game 1, he unfair stamped me while he was on 2 prizes and I was on 3, and I got Briar from that unfair stamp, and then top deck Counter Catcher, which I used on his Lumineon and then used Briar for game. To be fair, I did have Fez, but that was still super lucky to get the Briar off of the unfair stamp and then top deck the Counter Catcher. And then game 2 he bricked, unfortunately, because he prized his Rotom, and he didn't run Cleffa, so I won that round pretty easily. Round 3 was another Zardmira. Game 1 was pretty standard, until my opponent accidentally took 2 prize cards off of my Curse Blast instead of just 1, and so he got hit with a 2 prize penalty. To be fair, I did knock out both of his only Charmanders, so he was in a pretty bad spot as it was, but yeah, he just scooped that game. Game 2 I won as well. He put 3 Fire Energy and Defiance Band on his Radzard so that he could kill my Pidgeot early. Not sure if that was a good play or not, I wish I could watch it again and analyze it, but yeah, I did win by Counter Catcher for game, so yeah. Round 4 was yet another Zardmira, but this time I lost. Game 1 I was kinda bricking, especially after getting unfair stamped by my opponent. I was also a bit behind on setting up. Game 2 I made a misplay where I played Arven when I was planning to play Boss that turn instead. That cost me the game because he had Dusknoir Boss next turn. If I had bossed up his Dusknoir, I could have won, but oh well. My first loss did take a bit of a toll on my mental state, but I decided to move on and try and win my next games. Round 5 was against Palkia Terapagos. Game 1, I had a pretty good game. I had a good matchup into Palkia Terapagos. I just set up well and just played good, so yeah, I pretty much won that. And then game 2, I couldn't set up my Pidgeot early and do much, but I did this play where I baited him into promoting his Mew so I could kill it. So basically, I had 2 candies in hand and an Arven, and I had Dusknoir. So I candied for Dusknoir first, and then Curse Blasted, I think it was his Noctowl, and so he assumed that I didn't have any Zard or any Pidgeot or anything. So he brought up his Mew EX, and then I just Arven for Ultra Ball to get Zard, and then I just used my second candy to evolve into Zard and kill his Mew, and I got a 3 prize turn, so that was pretty good, and then yeah, I just went on to win the game. After this round, I met multi-time international championship winner Tord Reklev, and I managed to get a picture with him, as well as this signed Cleffa card. I wanted to meet him because he's the one who got me into playing Zard competitively. He tells me that he's just been testing random fun decks now, and he was playing Hydreigon at Toronto Regionals. I showed him my Trolley Zard deck, and he told me it's pretty good. so that's quite nice. We also discussed what should be done when the new item locking Budu card comes out, and we were thinking about running TM Evolution in the deck, which I might do in the future. I also asked Todd why he didn't run Dusknoir in his Zard deck that he played at Worlds, and he said it was just too clunky and he wanted to run Bibarel, Squovit and Rabscur so that he could deal with Regidrago, which I guess ended up being the right call anyway, considering he placed 10th at that tournament. Anyway, back to the regional. For round 6 I played against Cloth Terrapagos, and I actually lost this round. Game 1 I lost because I made a misplay, so I used Blustery Wind on a Brute Bonnet that had an Ancient Booster on it, because it had 120 HP, and since Pidgeot does 120 damage, I thought I could kill it, but I completely forgot that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule gives extra HP, and yeah, I ended up losing to Blood Moon Ursaluna. Also, I did prize my Lost Vacuum, so that wasn't an option either, but that was kind of annoying. And then game 2 I bricked. I probably could have promoted Duskull first, because I had it in my hand, and then used Cleffa after he knocked out my Duskull, because what I did instead was I put Cleffa up first, but no, I just couldn't get any basics or draw anything, so I lost that round. Round 7 was against another Cloth Terrapagos deck. Game 1 I got donked by Petulant. The thing is, I didn't know he was playing Cloth Terrapagos, and I had a Rotom in hand that I could have benched, but I didn't know he was playing it, and he just killed my Duskull using Petulant, which was kind of annoying. Game 2 I won. I just kind of played the game and won. And then game 3 was pretty interesting. I prized Forest Heelstone this game, but I did start Flutter Mane, which was kind of interesting, because that kind of made him brick, because he couldn't use Petulant to kill me, because that shuts off Petulant's ability, and he couldn't use Oranguru V to search for his Forest Sealstone and his tools and stuff. So I was in a super good spot, because he couldn't do anything. I was setting up my Zard, my Pidgeot, and everything was going so well. Until Terrapagos. Terrapagos plus Area 0 full bench, plus Binding Mochi, plus Radiant Hisuian Sneasel does 290 damage, and since I didn't practice enough against Cloth, I kind of forgot that. So he used Iron Bundle, so I switched the Flutter Mane to the Pidgeot, thinking that he couldn't kill it. And that was a pretty big misplay, because my Pidgeot got KO'd by the Terrapagos that does 290 damage, and since I died to Poison, I could not Fez, and therefore that lost me the game, and effectively killed me out of day 2. After taking that loss, I was kind of mad at myself, honestly. I really should not have brought up that Pidgeot. If I didn't, I probably could have made day 2, but yeah, oh well. But then I just decided to keep a level head and try to play for championship points and maybe try and get top 512. So then I kept on going. Round 8 was against Regidrago V-Star with Scramble Switch, which was kind of an interesting A-spec for the deck, and honestly, not a bad choice. Game 1, I got Kyurem sniped, he had Manaphy and Canceling Cologne, and I think I prized my Forest Sealstone again, so yeah, I lost this game. Also, I did this misplay where I was trying to search for Lumineon with an Ultra Ball, but then I found out my Lumineon was prized, so I got a Pidgey instead of a Zard so I could attack. And the reason why I got the Pidgey was because he knocked out my previous one, but I really should have searched for a Zard instead of that so that I could actually attack that turn, but yeah, I just completely forgot about that. So yeah, I lost that one. Game 2, I won by comeback. It was pretty good. I ran him out of energy. He had discarded all of his rods, and he had used Kyurem, so he had no energy. He just had an Ogerpon with 3 grass on it that I just bossed up and killed, and then he just conceded. Also, Trolley is really helpful in this matchup because it makes it harder for the Regidrago to board wipe you because you have so many basics. And then game 3, he bricked a bit. He couldn't get any of his dragons in the discard, only Giratina, and that is even after drawing with everything he could get. Plus, I had Manaphy and Mist Energy, so he couldn't really board wipe me. And then I intentionally drew round 9 so that I could make top 512. My opponent was playing Regidrago V-Star as well, so that was probably a good idea to ID, because that's a bad matchup for Zard. For my final standing, I managed to get into the top 512, and I got 9 packs of Surging Sparks. Didn't really pull anything, I just got a normal Latias EX and a Brilliant Blender, so I mean, playable cards, but not much heat, honestly. During the tournament, I didn't encounter a single Pult Thorns, and not nearly as many Regidragos as I thought I would. Most of my matchups were actually against Zard and Cloth, for some reason. And, I mean, yeah, Cloth is a good deck, but I seriously thought I was going to go up against a lot of, like, Pult Thorns and Drago and a lot of, like, worse matchups, but oh well. But yeah, I did really enjoy playing my beautiful Trolley Zard deck at the regional, and it was a ton of fun. I did return for day 2 to watch the rest of the regional and play in some side events and do some casual stuff. I did sign up for the League Cup that they were running on day 2, like the day before, but there was an issue with Arcanine and I wasn't able to register. I went to ask them what was up with that and they told me, yeah, they can't fix it. But it's okay. I did end up playing some casual games though. One was against Roaring Moon, and we were just like joking around the whole time, and it was a lot of fun. I even tried a funny strat where I bossed up his Latias EX with Flutter Mane in the active, so that he would need 2 energy to retreat and couldn't use Latias's ability to give free retreat. I ended up losing that game, but it was still a lot of fun. Then I played against these guys from Quebec who were playing Greninja Dusknoir, which was actually a kind of fun deck to play against. Then they told me that I should sign up to play in the TCG Raid Battle side event. Yes, a TCG Raid Battle. I signed up for it and it was actually quite fun. Here's how it works. It's a 1v4 between a judge and 4 participants. The participants are a team. We get 4 supporters per team. Anyone can use supporters, but the team collectively can use maximum 4 supporters. Not all trainer cards work the same way as normal. Boss is a switch for one of your opponents. Countercatcher is the same thing on a coin flip. Now, we as a team all attack his Pokemon at once. He calculates the total damage and divides that by 40, then puts that many cards from the top of his deck into the lost zone, and our objective is to make him deck out. Also, turn 1, we can evolve as much as we want, play supporters, and attack. Now the judge, he only has 1 Pokemon, and that is a V-Union Pokemon with infinite HP. At the event there were 2 types of V-Union Pokemon you could go up against. There was the Mewtwo V-Union and the Pikachu. We went up against the Mewtwo one. Now every turn, he will play the top 5 cards of his deck. Energies get attached, and all of the energies count as rainbow energy. Items and supporters get used, and tools get attached. The deck was mainly disruption and control, such as cards like Misfortune Sisters, Tool Jammer, Crushing Hammer, Pokemon Catcher, etc. Used items and supporters get shuffled into the deck instead of discarded, so the judge does not have a discard pile. Anything used will be shuffled back into the deck. He can attack with any of his attacks, provided he has enough energy. If not, he struggles. If he struggles for 2 turns in a row, then the next turn he gets to attack for free. He also doesn't get to choose his attack. A die is rolled determining which attack he ends up using. Now if he gets a KO, you take a prize as a participant. If you take all your prizes, you're out. Charizard EX, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Radzard, etc. are all based on your prize cards and not your opponent's, because the judge does not have any prize cards. And just some other miscellaneous things. Iono affects everyone, and Palkia involves all bench Pokemon from all 4 of your teammates. Now, our team consisted of a Zard, that's me, a Gardevoir, a Raging Bolt, and a Cloth. And we played against a Mewtwo V-Union. Raging Bolt did a ton of damage, and so did Zard because of the weakness. It was fun, but we won so quickly that it ended too fast for me to feel like it was worth the $15 price. But it was a fun experience nonetheless, and it was a great way to learn how to play the game in a different way. And this is something that I'd like to try out with some friends of mine in the future. Then after trading with some people and visiting the vendors one more time, I sat down in the audience to watch the top 4. The final game 3 of the finals was really exciting to watch, since it was Regidrago Mirror and both players bricked. Eventually, Calvin Connor won the regional by using Swinging Fiend and Flipping Tails, managing to win him the game by a coin flip.
He's getting over this way! Are we going to see this? We're going to see Swinging Speed!
Oh my God!
Tails! Calvin will win the game! Heads, a whole new narrative! What's the flip? Tails!
So yeah, with all that said, Toronto Regionals was a ton of fun. I met so many new friends and I had an amazing time playing Charizard. Here's the final list that I played if you want to try it out. I'll also put it in the description of the video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I'll see you all next time.